Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings, aka Cam Fats, coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. Hope you guys are doing amazing out there on this fine Tuesday evening. Um, Tonight, we're going to be talking about mistakes. That's the topic of the conversation tonight, mistakes. But not just any mistakes, you guys. I want to talk to you guys about repeated mistakes. Do you guys ever find that you repeat mistakes? The same mistakes over and over and over again. Like, maybe you'll make a mistake, you'll learn from it, you'll move on, and then like 3 months later, you'll make the same mistake again. It's like, don't you learn? Right? Does that ever happen to you guys? Making the same mistakes more than once, kind of repeating mistakes over and over again. I know it happens to me. I sure know it happens to me. I will find myself repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And it's maddening. I tell you what, it really is. I was talking to my wife about this earlier, and I kind of related it to this idea of being like a basketball coach, right? Um, I'm a basketball. This is the best way I can explain it, right? Like I'm a basketball. I'm not a basketball coach. This is just an analogy. Let's say I'm a basketball coach, right? I got players on my team, and I got kids that I'm coaching, right? And like these players go out on the court and they're playing basketball, and one of them is wearing dress shoes out on the court, right? I say, hey kid, come here, kid. Hey, listen, man, those shoes are not going to work out. All right, you need some basketball shoes, right? You need to put on some basketball shoes, right? This is how I coach the kids. This is how I would coach the kids. I'd make sure everything is in order, right? But for some reason, like I have that like gene in my brain. Once the kids go home and I'm sitting in there in the gym by myself, for some reason, like I feel like I can walk out there on the basketball court in dress shoes and I can make it work somehow. Like I know all the rules. I know all the things and the way it's supposed to be. But there'll be something inside of me that'll say, you know what, man? I know you're supposed to wear basketball shoes out on that court. I know things are supposed to be like this and things are supposed to be like this, but maybe I feel like these dress shoes I'm wearing should be okay on this court because I played here 1,000 times and like I know what I'm doing and like it's gonna be okay for me. I got that gene, man. I got that gene where I can tell other people how to do things right, and I can do things right myself most of the time. But every here and there, I just get a wild hair, and I get it in my head that it doesn't have to be that way. I don't have to follow the rules. I can do it differently. I'm special somehow, right? The basketball coach that makes all his players wear basketball shoes would never dream of letting them wear dress shoes on the court because it's not going to work. They're going to break an ankle, right? But for some reason, he feels like he can be special and wear the dress shoes and it's going to be okay. For some miraculous reason, it's going to be okay. It never is. It's never okay. It never works out. It always flops. He lands on his face. And he feels like a fool, almost like Charlie Brown, right? Every time he thinks, she's gonna, pull the football away, and he's not gonna be able to kick the ball. He knows it. He knows it in his head, but she convinces him somehow, dude, it's gonna be different this time. I'm not gonna pull the ball away now. You're gonna be able to kick it. He's like, okay, I never forget the one special where she's like, "No, it's different, man. I got a contract. It's gonna be different this time. This time I got a contract. Sign the contract. It's official." He's like, "Yeah. You're right. I got an official contract. It's gonna be okay. I'm finally gonna kick that football." He takes off running. She pulls the ball out from. He falls on his butt, and then she says, "Funny thing about contracts." They have to get notarized. So yeah, so it's funny. So okay, so that leads us into basketball coach syndrome, right? So that leads us into newsletters on Substack. And we talk about repeating the same mistakes. It's funny. Usually I get on here and I want to tell you guys, I want to teach you guys things. I want to teach you things from my experience. And this is going to be a really interesting live stream because, a lot of times when people do live streams, they're always coming at you from a place of experience and they know the things and they're going to teach you the things. And, I suppose I am coming at you from a place of experience right now, but I'm human and I make mistakes. I'll be the first to admit I make mistakes, and I want to talk about some of my mistakes with you guys right now, in hopes that you can learn from some of my mistakes. I am transparent with my business because I believe that, I believe personally that you cannot truly help other people succeed if you're not showing them the whole picture, right? If I only allow you to see the wins and the success, it's almost like looking at the sky through a telescope. You don't get to see the whole picture. You only get to see part of the picture, and then you're confused as to why you don't succeed. There should be no doubt in anyone's mind why so many people fail, because they only see a small part of the picture. They don't see the whole picture. So I really want to pull the curtain back tonight and show you the whole picture, right? So newsletters on Substack, I'm venturing into new territory. I'm venturing into PLR land. I'm releasing this official unbranded release called Newsletters on Substack, and I released it yesterday, and today's the second day of the launch. And it's pretty stagnant, not too many sales. I think it's creeping up on 50 sales, I think. So pretty quiet. And I just wanted to talk about, here's the funny thing. Like, I know exactly why it's quiet, right? I've been doing this for such a long time. I know exactly why it's quiet. We got to understand, the last launch I did about 30 days ago did 500 units. The one right before that was creeping up on 500 units. So why is this one on day 2 only at like 50 units? Like, it's no surprise. I can reveal everything to you guys why it's at like 50 units. So what are some of the problems with newsletters on Substack? Now, guys, I want you to know that we're going to circle this back around to repeating mistakes, okay? I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to stop repeating the same mistakes over and over. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler here. These are not my tips, because I'm in the same boat with you guys. I make the same mistakes over and over again. But you know what? We're gonna look at someone else, a PhD in psychology. We're gonna look at a PhD in psychology's 5 tips on not repeating the same mistake over and over again. We're gonna see if we can learn together, what's going on. So, what are some of the mistakes I've made with newsletter on Substack? Okay, so the first mistake I've made, and this is the mistake that just breaks my heart, to be honest with you. I'll tell you why in a few minutes, but it goes back to 2017. See, I've made this mistake before. But the first mistake I made with newsletters on Substack was I spent too long on the product, man. I spent way too long on the product. I put a lot of time and effort into newsletters on Substack, into the funnel for newsletters on Substack. I redefined the entire sales funnel from what I normally did. I invested money into the sales page, which is not something I normally would do, but I wanted a special package for customers, so I invested money in that. I invested money in transcription services, all this extra stuff that I should not have done because it was unnecessary. But it all equaled, basically, the biggest thing that I invested in newsletters on Substack was just too much time. I invested too much time in the creation of the product, right? And I could go into why that matters so much, but to put it bluntly, my time is worth a lot of money, right? So the more time that I invest into a product, right, the better that product needs to deliver, right? The better that product needs to sell. When I say deliver, I mean sell, right? The more money that product needs to make for me to recoup all that time I invested, right? So that's why you got to be careful how much time you spend on products. It's important. The next big problem, once I spent all that time on newsletters for Substack, like I was totally like done, and I put myself back up against the wall because I was originally supposed to launch it on the 12th. I backed it all the way up to like the 23rd, and like I think I was wrapping up getting done with it all like around the 20th or the 21st, and by the time I was done messing with it, like I was just like done. I didn't even want to deal with JV recruitment because I was launching it in a couple days, and I was like just done. So I was just like, I'm not recruiting any JVs for this, man. I'm not even messing with JV recruitment. I think all I did was like I put it up on Muncheye. I circled it around to some Facebook groups, and that's about it, right? I didn't do anything else. I didn't reach out to anybody personally. I did like zero JV recruitment, right? The third thing, unnecessary spending. Unnecessary spending on the product. Just completely unnecessary. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not bad to invest money in your product sometimes, but it's bad to invest unnecessarily. So that's what I would say about that. Um, the here I could go on and on. And my thoughts on this product will be made clear to myself when I do a product launch profile after it's all said and done. Those of you guys in my insiders club, you know about product launch profiles. I always go over those with you guys. And this will be no different. I'll go over this one with you guys too. But you know, here's a prime example of a mistake. All right, here's a prime example of a mistake that I wouldn't have made. Like if I was a coach, if I was coaching someone, I wouldn't have let them make this mistake. Okay, here's a prime example. Last night, I'm looking at my numbers for newsletters on Substack. I see the sales page is not converting the way it should, right? I think it was converting at like 6% or something. And I saw this sales page needs to be tweaked. It needs to be moved around a little bit. The traffic I am getting to the sales page is not converting at a good enough level. Like I'm not converting good enough on my own internal traffic. So what did I do? I decided, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to buy some advertising. So I bought some advertising for it. Like this was like just a waste of money, right? That's all that was. And the reason why it's a waste of money is why advertise to get more affiliates, which I did. I pulled in more affiliates, and what that did was, well, it didn't really pull down my conversions because I actually adjusted my sales page, and I tweaked it and got the conversion rate up to 8%. But it probably would have went above 10 or 12% if I wouldn't have paid for that advertising. I paid for that advertising, pulled in a bunch more affiliates, young affiliates, obviously not like established affiliates for the most part, but younger affiliates, newer affiliates, I should say, and just basically, not flooded my sales page with traffic, but it definitely didn't need that extra traffic. It needed to be adjusted. I wasn't taking advantage of the traffic I had, but the thing about it was I knew that last night, but for some reason, old basketball coach is on the court, right, in dress shoes, and I'm thinking in my mind, yeah, I know I need to adjust this, but man, I don't know, man. I think I'm just because I'm in the PLR space here with this one. I think I'm just going to do some advertising, get it up there in the advertising spot, and see if I can attract some of these PLR sellers, and then maybe something good will happen from that. Like just taking a shot. But it was only a shot I could take as the old basketball coach thinking I could play basketball in dress shoes, right? Like I would have never let one of my students take that shot. I would have been like, dude, you don't need any more affiliates. Stop recruiting affiliates. Fix the sales page. You're not taking advantage of the traffic you have. The sales page needs fixed. But for some reason, I think I'm special and I'm just going to roll with it anyways. Now, do I do this all the time? No, I don't. I'll do pretty good for, a few months, 6 months, 4 months, 5 months. But then just out of nowhere, man, I don't know what it is. I'll just start thinking, yeah, man, I think I can do it, man. I think I can do it. I think I can get this going. And I'll just start like self-sabotaging. I will just start self-sabotaging for whatever reason. It's quite frustrating. I could go on and on about little things, not bending goals. When I when I saw that it was the 21st and or the 20th or the 21st, and I had myself scheduled to launch on the 23rd, and I had already pushed it back once. I knew I didn't have enough. I hadn't dedicated any time to JV recruitment. I knew I hadn't dedicated enough time to marketing. Why was I going to try to rush this launch? Well, because I had a goal to get one out in November. That's the only reason, right? I had a goal to get one out in November. I wanted to do a Black Friday sale at the end of November, and this was the only spot I could fit it in if I wanted to get it out in November. So I rushed it like a fool. It was a bad decision, man. It was just a bad mistake, and that's a good example of not bending my goals, not being flexible. And the funny thing is, man, here's what's frustrating about it, right? I already know all this stuff. Like, I would never let one of my students do that. I would have told my student to push it back. You need more time for affiliate recruitment. You're just going to flop it if you do that. Like, I already know this stuff. Like, I already knew that. I don't know why I think that I'm special. Like, I can just make it happen, especially like when I got 3 days and then I decide, you know what? I'm done messing with this product. I'm not doing any affiliate recruitment. I'll just let people find me. Well, what do you think's going to happen? No one's looking for me. Everyone else is launching right now, and they're all putting in all the work for affiliate recruitment. Of course, people are not going to find me. Like, I already knew that was going to be the outcome. Like, nothing is surprising at all. So why the self-sabotage? Why repeat mistakes that you were making like 8 years or 3 or 4 years ago? I'll give you an example. 2017, right? Let's rewind the clock 3 years ago to 2017. I was doing pretty good, man. I was putting out products. I was in the 500, 700, 800,000 unit range, and I just got this like wild hair up my butt, that I was gonna put out this really big product that basically just taught like all this stuff, like everything I could think of that I knew. Just let me take you from zero to hero with this product. And it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna charge $197 for it, but it's worth like $2,000. Like a $2,000 product. It's gonna be $197, and I'm gonna put it out on Warrior Plus, right? And I spent like 2 months putting this product together. It was like a big endeavor putting it together. And again, that comes back to spending way too long on products. And that was like the first time I learned that's the first time I made that mistake though. That was the first time I kind of figured that out was in 2017, and I just kind of figured out, hey man, the more time you spend on something, like the more it needs to pay you back because you're spending all this time. It has to perform better and better and better. The more time you spend on it, that's kind of how that goes. So if you spend 2 months on something, man, it better pay off big time because you just dedicated the last 2 months of your life to this thing. So it flopped. That product flopped in 2000. Now I think it made like 6 or 7 or 8,000 bucks or something. But that's not what I thought it was going to make. I mean, I thought it was going to do more than that. So it flopped for all intents and purposes. And then what happened was, I got my soul crushed for a couple of days because I spent so much time on that thing. And then I just like dusted myself off, got back up, and like within the month, I think I released another product that did over 1,000 units. That product that I released though, like I think I only spent like 2 days creating it, and like I just boom, 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 boom. I had a really quick turnaround time, right? I spent just a couple days creating it, put it out, boom, and it caught fire, and it did really, really well. And I learned that lesson in 2017. Like, hey man, don't spend so long on the product creation. It's not about like this massive product. It's about the angle, and it's about that one like thing that can help people move forward a little bit, right? It's about the one little thing. It doesn't need to be so overblown and so big and crazy, right? And it's just a waste of your time to do that. I learned that in 2017. So like, why am I repeating that mistake in 2020? You know what I mean? I learned that 3 years ago. Why am I repeating the mistake in 3 years later? That's what's maddening. That's what's maddening, man. Just repeating mistakes like that. Like, It's like now it's like I've been humbled, so like now like I won't repeat this mistake. But will I eventually repeat this mistake? Will 2022 roll around and I'll repeat the same damn mistake over and over again? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna repeat this mistake for a while. I promise you that. It'll be a long time before I spend this much time and effort on another product. It's ridiculous. But 3 years from now, will I repeat the same mistake again? And if so, why? Why? Why repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again? How do you get better in life? It's like, do we reach a ceiling or something? Is it like a ceiling? Like you're only allowed to get so good, and you're just going to repeat these mistakes. You're not allowed to get to the next part. You know, you can only get to here. You know, it's weird, man. It's weird. I printed an article off. All right. This is an article by Alice Boyes. She's a PhD in psychology. 5 tips on how to stop repeating the same mistakes, right? It's easy to get frustrated and self-critical when you repeat mistakes. You might think you're the only one who does this, but you're not. Each person's specific patterns might differ, but we can all relate to the general concept. The tips in this post apply to a wide range of these types of recurrent mistakes, including overeating, ignoring your instinct to say no or to speak up, prioritizing the wrong things, buying things you don't need because they're on sale, getting irritated with your kids because you're stressed out about work. Note to identify your self-sabotaging habits. Once you know what to work on, consider these points. These are 5 tips on not making the same mistakes over and over again. Vowing to never repeat a particular mistake again is the wrong approach, right? After you stuff yourself at Thanksgiving, you say, I'm not going to do that again. I feel terrible. Wasn't worth it. However, next year rolls around, and when you first notice you're overeating again, you completely give up and go for 2 more slices of pie. Sound familiar? Sounds like a plan to me. Bring on the pie. Paradoxically, to change recurrent patterns, it is often best to assume you will make the same mistakes again. When you do this, you can change your focus to developing practical strategies that will help you make less severe mistakes less often. This tends to be a more successful approach overall. So I guess the point is, if I see that I have this habit every year or two of thinking I can just create this big thing, this product that I spend way too much time on, I need to put a little system in place to keep me from doing that. Like maybe say, like, I think an example would be like saying, okay, I have a 3-day rule on product creation. No products can take me longer than 3 days to create. If I can't create it in 3 days, it's a no-go, right? That's it. I need the 3-day version of this product. Boom. Like, and if that's a rule that I set in place, it'll be like, it's easy to put a rule like that in place, but it's like it's harder to like remember to like it's harder to remember, oh man, I messed up like 2 years ago doing this exact same thing. Why did I mess up again? You know what I mean? Why did I let myself fall into this? It's so weird, man, because I know, like, when I was putting this product together, I felt at the very beginning when I was planning it out, I was like, man, this is a little too involved. I think this is too involved. This feels a little too involved. There's too much to this. It's too much work for me. The little alarm bells were going off, but it's like I was ignoring them because I was like, nah, man, you know what? Forget it. I want to do this right. This is my first official non-branded PLR release. Man, I want to do this right. I'm going all in on this thing, right? I ignored all the warning bells that were going off in my head. Like, this is taking too long, dude. You're getting too far into this. So that's really good. That's a good tip, right? Don't vow to never make a mistake again, but instead put a little system in place that's going to help you to not make that mistake again. 2, develop strategies for prevention, right? Let's say you end up overeating when you become overly hungry. What strategy do you need to put in place to prevent becoming so ravenous you scarf 4 bread rolls that are hanging around in your break room at work. Let's take a deep dive on how you might solve this problem. Perhaps hey, this is making me hungry, man. I don't know if I can keep on reading this. I'm getting hungry. Williams says, complacency always set in after a while. Human nature. Yeah, Williams right. Williams right. Absolutely right. Complacency. Complacency is my great enemy. My one great enemy haunts me. Your bonuses could have been 4 products. Shane saying I made too much in the bonuses. Hey, you could be right, Shane. Might have been too much. Might have been too much. Might have been too much. I'm going to definitely have to evaluate it in the product launch profile because, it's definitely on me, man. I definitely have to own this one. That's for sure. Think about it, guys. Think about it. How does someone go from pushing 500 units to pushing 50 units? Like in the course of 30 days. Like that's like a train wreck or something. Like you don't get any more self-sabotaging than that. That's like the biggest self-sabotage like in the history of self-sabotage. Especially like dude knows everything you did wrong. Like I literally know everything I did wrong. I can point out everything I did wrong. And even more than that, like I think I paused at every point before I took action and said, well, you know what? This is wrong because of this. But at every point, I was like, you know what? Nah, man, you know what? I can make this work. I want to do it this way. Why? It's crazy. Number 2 is develop strategies for prevention. All right. So, all right. Number 3, put aside time and mental energy. Now, I know the example strategy I've given above seems simple, but this is deceptive. Improving your patterns doesn't just happen. Success requires all of the following. Think about what strategies you could use. Make a decision about what to try, implementing your ideas, and often troubleshooting aspects of your strategies that aren't working. All that requires mental energy. It isn't the type of thing you just do while you're on the run at work, or you'll squeeze into your day at 10 p.m. when you're tired, tapped out, and you'd normally be clicking around the internet. The reality of life is that we don't always have the time or mental space available to mindfully address self-sabotaging habits. That's normal, but until you have the energy available, you probably won't do anything to turn around your patterns. What times during your day, weeks, do you have enough cognitive energy available for self-strategizing? That's funny, man. How many of us set aside time for self-strategizing? Developing little strategies that are going to keep us from self-sabotaging ourselves, right? I tell you what, I'm very much that cat who like I can't even come up with a better analogy. That's the best like analogy, man. Like the old basketball coach that would never let his players go out on that court without their basketball shoes on. But he's sitting over there on the sidelines after the game thinking, yeah, you know what, man? I think I could do it. I know I got these dress shoes on, but I think I could do it. I'm different. I'm special. I can do it. I'm going to make this work tonight. No, you're not. You're going to break your ankle. Number 4, develop strategies for harm minimization. Even the best prevention strategies are likely to fail at least occasionally. Therefore, you need a plan for what's known as harm minimization. You guys know about harm minimization? This is the same principle that's behind the idea that it's better for drug addicts to use clean needles than dirty ones. Let's think back to problem of binging while overly hungry. Perhaps your strategy for when this happens might be to start your lunch by eating some fruit, salad, or something else, where it's difficult to quickly stuff yourself with a large amount of calories. Harm minimization is about having a safety net. And who wouldn't want to arrange that for themselves? A safety net. Man, I need a safety net for making bad decisions during launch processes. I need a safety net. I'm going to come up with a system. I'm going to come up with a system that is going to prevent me from making some of these mistakes again, because this is frustrating. Consider making backup plans for when you've forgotten something. For example, I keep $20 in the glove compartment of my car in case I forget my purse or get caught out by a store that's cash only. Interesting. She keeps $20 in the glove compartment just in case. All right, number 5. Tip number 5. Understand your seemingly irrelevant decisions. The concept I cover in my book, The Healthy Mind Toolkit, is what's known as seemingly irrelevant decisions. I'll give a quick overview of this concept. Seemingly irrelevant decisions are decisions that set you down the path towards a self-regulation failure. Even though the decision seems relatively innocuous, for example, you're currently cutting back on overeating, you plan to host a party, and although you don't intend to overindulge at your event, you realistically know from past experience that whenever you host a gathering, it always results in overeating leftover food, right? Or you sign your child up for a class that's across town on the busiest day of your work week, knowing that if you have to battle traffic at the end of a long day, you're likely to be very cranky and irritable. Now, see, that's interesting because, see, like when I set out to do that launch, like I knew, man, I was getting in too much stuff. I was getting to be way too deep, but I just wanted to make it the best thing possible. I got caught up with wanting to make it perfect, right? Now that's more about me than about my customers. My customers don't need a giant overblown package. That's more about me. That's more about me serving my ego. I just wanted to make it perfect. You can't get in love with this idea of perfection, you know? But when I did that, like I knew that at the end of that process, I was going to be like, man, I don't like JV recruitment on the best of times. I'm just going to skip it on this time. I'm not doing it. Forget it. So I self-sabotage there. And, you know, just different things. I could go on and on about this, but I definitely see the mistakes. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Put it that way. Let's leave it at that. Seemingly irrelevant decisions. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Just a lot of little things, man. A lot of little things that add up to big things. So, summing up, if you focus on completely eliminating all mistakes from your life, this will feel incredibly overwhelming. If you instead aim to improve, there are a lot of practical solutions you can try, and you'll likely experience much more success. Addressing your patterns can even be enjoyable if you take a non-judgmental, problem-solving approach. Yeah, it's good. It's a good article. I might have to read that again. I might have to read that one. I might have to let that one sink in twice. Let me read a couple of these comments, man. Having the ability to forgive yourself when you make mistakes instead of getting angry will not drain your energy too. That's a great tip, William. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that, sir. That's awesome. It's a good point. I self-sabotage, call a product a fail prematurely. Yep, I understand, man. I understand. I think a lot of us do, man. I think a lot of us self-sabotage for one reason or another, man. It's just something we gotta work on, I guess, you know. Work in progress, right? Not perfect. Yeah, me too. Have some fun on my hand phone casing in case I forget my wallet. Been effective for quite some time now. That's good, man. It's very smart. Very smart. Yeah, that's good, guys. So I just wanted to share that with you guys tonight because I'll be honest with you guys. I honestly love sharing stuff like this. Like I mean, I love um, you know, giving people tips and tricks and strategies and ways to get better and stuff. But I love being real with people too, man. I love when I make mistakes. I love talking about them with people because, you know, I mean, I'm human, man. I didn't get to where I was online by not making mistakes. Like I had to make mistakes. I had to own the mistakes, call myself out, to get better. That's the only way, man. That's the only way. Like if I sit here tonight and I just blamed my problems on everybody else. And I found, oh man, nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to promote that. Oh, such and such didn't do this for me. Blah da da da. If I find everyone else to blame for my stuff, and you guys know we all have it in us to blame everybody else for our stuff, right? Oh man, that's just because it's too busy. Everybody's launching this time, there's no space for me to do anything. It's oversaturated. Nobody's got any money. It's COVID-19. It's this, that's the other thing. It's always something. No, man, it's ridiculous. It's not always something. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's right here. It's right here. When things don't go the way I want them to go, 9 times out of 10, it's right here. There's always something I did wrong, something I could have done better, something I should have done better, something I should have took a little bit more time on, a little bit more care on, something I rushed, whatever, 9 times out of 10, it always comes back to me, man. But the good news I would say about that, you guys, and I think the real takeaway is when I can aim the blame at myself, then that leads me to do live streams like this with you guys, right? And that leads me to find articles like this. And, I grow from it, right? I get better from that. But if I blamed everybody else for the bad things that happen to me in life or whatever, then how would I ever grow or get better? Like, I would never grow. I'd never get better. It'd always be somebody else's fault. So, anyways, guys, I don't know. I just wanted to get on here and share that with you guys. I hope you've gotten something out of it. I mean, I think it's helpful. If you think this is valuable, if you know someone else who might learn something from this or might get value out of this, share it. Sharing is caring. You lift me up on a pedestal when you share my videos, and I appreciate you. I guess that's all I got, guys. Hope it wasn't too flat for you tonight. It's been a rough day, but you know what? Tomorrow's gonna be a good one. I'll see you guys. Take care of yourselves. Peace.